And good afternoon. It is Monday, October 7th, just after 2 p.m. I am Ryan Belmore with What's Up Newt, and we are continuing our conversations with the candidates. This week we were chatting with all the candidates for Newport School Committee as well as Newport City Council, the different wards at large, etc. And we are chatting. We have scheduled every single school committee candidate but one, and every single city council candidate but one. You can view our full schedule available on whatsupnewt.com. We are loading these up as stories, podcasts, and videos as soon as they are completed. So if you want to compare and contrast the candidates, listen to them while driving, listen to them while on the run, all available on our website to do so. We are having a school committee day ourselves here. We have 4 interviews today. We've completed 1. We have 3 more to go. And we are going to be joined now by Becky Bolan, who is the current chair of Newport School Committee. Becky, how are you?
I'm good, really good on this rainy day.
Yeah, let's see if we can find a couple things to talk about regarding schools in Newport to fill this half hour. First of all, how long now have you been on school committee?
I think I'm in year 17.
Okay.
Right
wow.
I think I got on in 2008. Pretty much. So that maybe 16. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I tried to look it up, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure. And
the same time that Sandra's been on.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, this is my very last time for sure.
Really?
Yes. So,
how come?
Well, because it's been a goal of mine. I've actually been on the school building committee since 2005, when we first started to do newer and fewer. And I've seen every project all the way through. It's very exciting to do. And now, I've got a lot more skills along the way. And I serve as the, co-chair of the building committee. So I really want to see this project all the way through and see the school open and, get through all the issues that we have. I'm sure we'll talk about today.
Yeah. So when you were deciding to run again for another
term,
2 years, that's why you decided.
Well, that's why if we had finished the school, I would have been done. I think it's time I'm more than happy to turn it over to a younger crowd. When I came on, I still had kids. I think middle school, they had just gone into middle school. So it's, it's always great to have parents on board. And so we'll be making some space next time.
All right. I'm just wondering, is it, besides the new school buildings, is serving on school committees since the your first term to now, the same, different?
Well, I think, one thing, I know people talk about term limits, but I will say that, at this point, I carry the institutional knowledge of what's gone before me and the mistakes we've made. And I'm actually really good at looking them up and finding them, in our board docs. And so there's some real value in having somebody that's been on for a while on the committee. And so I'll say it's changed. You go through different, with 2 superintendents, which is not really a lot. And so it's, and now I took on the chair, right? And so that takes an incredible amount of time, extra time to do that and to do a good job at it. But and the reason I hadn't done it before is because I was serving as the co-chair of the building committee, and Ray was doing an excellent job. And why, try to rock the boat when you don't need to. So
yeah. So not that I'm trying to make you unemployed, but how do we make sure that this school project gets done before the next election season?
Well, right now, we're waiting to buy out the last part of the project. And we have to make sure that we have that money in hand by December, a promise of that money in hand by December 1st. And we actually at today's building committee meeting, we will be discussing what we think that number is going to be, that we may need to finish it. And so it's going to open in June. This open meaning turning the keys over to us. And September, we're expecting, everything to be ready to go. Now, not all of the site work will be done because Obviously, we have to take down the old school. We have to put up, a lot of the foliage, the grass. You got to make sure you time it for when it's going to grow. So by the time we get done and you work out all the bugs, it'll be another at least year and a half to get it finished. And we're hoping too that when we finish, by the way, that we don't have to use our contingencies, and that if we need to use money from the city, that we'll be able to give it back. But we can't count on those contingencies, because you never know what unexpected thing you may find, even though the demolition has been bought out at this point.
Speaking of unexpected, obviously there was some unexpected inflation in things that happened during COVID. The way I understand it, from, I guess I'll say from uneducated, because I'm looking outside in, and anybody who's done a house project knows this, that the price you got is not the price that you paid if you had a house project going on in the last 5 years. In your words, quickly, I know you could talk probably for 2 hours. Summarize how we got where we are.
So the timing on our project is really what got us to where we were. So we thought, get it done as fast as we can. Prices are always going up. Then COVID hits, right? So we were granted our money before COVID hit. And so as we saw that escalation rise, and as you said, any building project, saw it. All school projects are, incurring these kinds of added costs. Only let me explain that in Newport, at this point, by the way, Pell came in a year ahead of time and under budget. And so when we got this project going, we have to complete the entire project. Other districts, what they're doing is they too are having money problems, but Providence is just saying, okay, now we're not going to do such and such elementary school. We're going to take this out of the scope of the work. But basically, at the high school, we had one project to complete. So, and really, truthfully, as we can see these numbers as they become firm, looks like we're about maybe 27, 28% over what we originally were given, which was 98 something million. So,
and everybody has to point a finger. If you were to point a finger, you would say inflation.
I would say 100%. It's inflation. Is it somebody taking advantage, of the situation? And I'm not blaming anybody, but we were just a victim of it because we have to finish the school. So, we're trying to get through it as best we can. And the city's actually, there've been a lot of questions. They're supposed to question. That's their job, but they really have worked with us to try to get this done.
What's the biggest misnomer out there in the community that we can dispel right now?
Well, I think that somebody was passing around that we're 40 million over. We're not 40 million. We've actually, at this point, we've 26 between 26 and 27 million extra dollars we've obtained. So a couple million coming from us, but mostly from the sale of the bond and from the city, donating us, not donating, but contributing to it. So I think that sometimes people, when they look at the dirt pile, right, and there are some options with that as far as spreading it out, and the city's been asked for years now to take care of that dump. That's what it was. It was used as a city dump. And so, it's just coming right now. I mean, it's bad. It's always bad timing when you got to put money out as a city, but that's all coming. But I don't believe that the school department should be blamed for, what we're finding, and when we're trying to dig sewer lines and gas lines and,
not that I have asked any candidates how they will vote for the $98.5 million bond, but I will ask you, how important do you think that bond passing with about $10 million earmarked for Rogers High School?
Well, and who knows, we may not have to use much of that. That was just something. I think everything in that bond is just, kind of guesses until you get actual prices and watch, them happen to exactly what happened to us. You think it's going to cost 10 and it's actually, 12 or 15. So I think it's, I'm hoping we don't have to use much of it, and hoping that, they come back with good results and we're allowed to spread that dirt and put a top on it. And, but we'll have to see. So I'm definitely in favor of the bond for that, but all the other reasons too.
Yeah, and I will just take a quick note that the final number is 98.5 million. For those who don't know, there's a bunch of line items. Nothing is specifically set in stone for any line item. So if something comes over, under, you can move money around, or the city could decide that you're just not going to spend the money and not take out the full bond. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. So
putting it out there that you don't have to spend the money just because you have it, and it also just doesn't have to be spent 10 million on Rogers.
And I'll say the last bond, they spent it. We have a lot of our streets have been finished, and we've had a lot of infrastructure issues, and it seems like they've used it really wisely over all that, to get things done.
Oh, good.
No, it just, it's hard because not to blame the city council because they inherit these problems, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, some other time I'm going to have a discussion about maybe longer terms, because the 2 years, a lot of people don't bring it up, but once you get through for new people, it's already to run again. Your first year, all of a sudden
they should be 4-year terms.
Yeah.
And it does take you the first 2 years, you have no idea exactly what's going on. But, then as on a school committee, I serve on the finance advisory. And so I feel like I really understand, the finances and where they come. And I ran health and wellness for, the majority of the time while on the committee. So then I moved on to this project.
Yeah, and it's a big one. What other opportunities do you see or challenges for the next school committee?
Well, it's going to be, let's get to the elephant in the room, which is, the ongoing problems with, that were issues that the teachers union and the administration, are having. That I think one of the biggest challenges is we got to get back to a place where we're all talking to each other, and it's a labor dispute. It's complicated, and we worked on it all summer trying to get it solved, and the issues were just too big, and so we're going to let a judge figure it out, and if whatever the judge comes back with, that's what we're going to follow. And so I think that's one of the biggest. We've got to get back to climate and culture with and everybody on the same page, and also, I think that implementing this new strategic plan, that's part of it, because we're doing things differently, and change is always difficult for everyone involved. So those are going to be our really big challenges, because we're really trying to get student achievement up.
Yeah, and I know the teacher and school department, it is going through the legal system, so please feel free to say I can't answer that. But the way I understood the changes is a lot of it came from the state down. And is it more of the strategic plan or more of the statewide directives that have caused this dispute?
Not so much that the state. No, I wouldn't call it the state directive. The state's giving us input and to make changes. A lot of it is with the way you direct or deliver services such as ELL and English language learners, kids with IEPs, individual learning plans. And so that changes the whole model of how things are done. And I think that's a lot of it. And I wouldn't say the state hasn't mandated it. It's just that Colleen feels, our superintendent feels very strongly about going this direction. And it's our job to either support the superintendent or not, and so right now, we're supporting her, and we're going to see where this takes us. And it's a little scary, really.
Yeah. Bit. How, speaking of climate and culture, which you mentioned a couple of minutes, or we could just talk about success. How long do you think are you anticipating it will take to see success from some of these changes?
I'm hoping we see it right away. I'm hoping that, we've always had we really do have excellent teachers in Newport. We're very lucky. It's just getting everybody kind of on the same page and having really high expectations. I think that's one of the biggest challenges we have, that, believing that every kid can succeed and do well. And I think that's where this new plan comes in. It's believing in that culture. And so, it's going to take a while to get everybody to buy into, all of this. And in the meantime, the teachers are doing a good job at school. I mean, we may be having work to rule outside, but do not doubt that they're doing their best during the day.
Sometimes, with everybody working together, I just wonder, sometimes you could kind of feel the uncomfortableness,
Yeah.
whether it's city council and school committee or teachers or superintendent. What steps can take place over the next 2 years or today, or what can everybody do?
I think, getting back to the table. I mean, the school committee made a decision to let this, get settled. We want it settled right away. I think as soon as it's settled, we can get back on track, and because our kids need us, our families need us. And so I think that's, really what it's about is, having, some putting the joy back into school. Like, I know they want to put the joy back into our country, but it's, when people come to work and they're unhappy, not a good thing, really. You don't want anybody to be if you can avoid it. So the sooner we can get all this settled, the better.
What are the other big opportunities or challenges for the next school committee?
I think one of them is going to be financially sustaining, what we do in Newport, because just our bus, every year, right? Just the buses, the raises, the things that go up no matter what, exceeds the 4%. Yeah, so that we are, which is the limit of what the city can give us. So I think financially it's going to be a lot. I think that we haven't talked about regionalization, but I think that, regionalization really, it's late in the game, but it's never too late. And we really should consider something like that, and I think the last time, there were some definite issues with the way it was going to go. They wanted to make Rogers into a technical school, and they wanted to have the academic school in Middleton, so they wanted to create a haves and a have-nots in the eyes of many people in Newport. And so I think that was a big part of the reason that it didn't make it here in Newport.
Yeah, and I said it during an earlier conversation. I think it was just a forced conversation. It was just so rushed at the very end, and
right.
It was way too confusing. It wasn't keep it simple. But what can be done about hitting that 4% every year? Is there anything?
Well, so just discussions with our city council and and our mayor, who's our mayor now, constantly ask for what you need, and they came close this year. I think they gave us 3.3%, but the financial thing's going to be really tough. We have very needy kids here in Newport, and so in Newport, of course, the city of Newport doesn't give the biggest percent to the school department of their budget, as you can look and see. But then they try to do other things, such as buying our technology. And there are other ways they helped us with retiree costs. And so sometimes you don't see what they're doing, but they have helped. So that's going to be our biggest challenge, that. and getting our kids' scores up, but one thing that everybody should understand is that 20% of our kids come in the district every year and 20% leave. So we're not always testing. I had them do a study in 2016. So my son's senior class, there were 182 kids to start with. And at their senior year, of those 182 kids, 42 were left.
Wow.
That was it. Now, there were still 100 and something kids in the class, but only 42 of the original kids who started. So we're not always testing the same kids that we are, teaching.
And I know you have to go by statewide standards that are required, but how else can you, as a school committee member or as the chair of the school committee, judge success?
We have so much success here in Newport. If test scores are one thing, and I get it because, it's a universal measure, but our kids come out of school with more opportunities than, our kids can go to college while they're in high school. They actually can get their AA degree while they're in high school. My son came out as a carpenter, when he graduated and went to college and used those skills all through college. Our kids, we try to get them all in a NAC Tech program at Rogers. And so there's all of these things are success, really, and it's about making sure that all of our students graduate and have something they want to go into, something they've been exposed to. And I think we do a really good job, between our sailing programs that we have for kids in the 4th grade. We teach them how to swim. There's just so much going on at that school besides just testing one day a year.
It's something I don't think we do a good job at as a community, and I'll probably get in trouble for this, but I've brought it up to many other candidates, and I should bring it up to the chair, is too often we let the rhetoric and, the negativity surround our conversation when talking about schools. And I have said it during a million conversations, and I'm going to make sure I say it now. It's not fair to the kids. If you hear that you're bad every single day, guess what you're going to be?
Right. Exactly.
And as a community, we need to. I get superintendent's messages. I watch school committee meetings. I know you guys are celebrating successes, but as a community, we all need to get behind it.
Right, and that goes back to that conversation earlier we had about really high expectations for kids, and believing that they can do it, and just making sure they're all supported. Every kid, especially like in high school, do they have someone they can talk to? Is there an adult in their life? It could be at school, it could be the custodian, but we just have to make sure our kids feel connected. And I will say our high school teachers do an excellent job. We can always do better, but connecting with these students. So
one of the things I worry about with, to go back a little bit, is, with declining enrollment, which isn't just Newport, it's happening all across the country. People are having less kids. As you mentioned, people are going in and out of the district. Is, as we talk about and vote on these regionalization questions, whether sooner or later, we're just going to be forced to.
Right.
And we're not going to have a choice on what happens.
Well, that would be the easiest method to get there.
Well, I'm just thinking, you said the 4% and then declining enrollment, expenses keep going up. I mean, at some point, I could see it being this is the only option moving forward.
Well, I happen to agree with you that, and no matter what, we'll make it work, so that, and you just have to think creatively, our kids have no problem with each other. They do things together all the time between Middletown and Newport. It's the adults we have to.
Yeah. What else? What haven't we gotten to that you want to talk about today?
Let me think. That one hit me off guard here.
Sorry. I just want to make sure.
I'm trying to think. I would love the opportunity to see this project through and to support Newport and all of our kids. I came from a background. I was a teacher, and then my husband, I followed him around in his 24-year career. And I was always involved in I have 6 kids and been involved in all of their,
I never
Yeah.
knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're all college graduates with incredible jobs, coming through Newport Public Schools. And so, and also I represent the military here. So I'm always looking out to make sure we're taking care of our military families when they come in. And I think that I bring a different kind of an attitude. Like I'm a kind of a peacemaker between groups and try to find the common ground. So, and I've really enjoyed this leadership role. It's also, as the leader, you get people that love you and you get people that hate you. It's easier to stay under the radar, but
Tell me about it.
yeah, you've had your share lately.
Yes. 11 candidates. What should people be looking for, considering when voting for candidates for school committee?
I think people that show up, contribute, people that, there's in this on the school committee, you have to serve on some committees, and they're huge commitments, policy and health and wellness. And so look and see what people are doing and how they, have helped. And, I'm not so much concerned with people that are, believe the way I do, right? It's more about people who can discuss it, and offer even a different view so that, it adds to the conversation. And I often, think I may vote one way and then I'm talked into another, I've realized, that it maybe needs to be another way. So I think look at people who are going to really add to the conversation and people who are committed to, to serving on our committee.
As somebody pointed out, it was a city council candidate, actually, and I wish I remembered who so I can give them credit, but they said that the toughest job in the city is Newport School Committee. And I'll make sure I get it in case you get it down the road.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any staff to help you.
No.
You are on your own. You attend all the meetings. You're on committees. It takes a tremendous amount of time. So
yeah, it does. It's a hard job if you have young kids to be on. I'll say that, because of the commitment. But the reward of it is really kind of intrinsic. You have little wins every once in a while. You see the smiling face on kids. It's those are the kinds of things, because for me, it's about every single kid every single day. It's not about the average test score. It's really about making sure we're looking after every single kid.
And the patience you pack watching the meetings, I'll give you credit, especially when there was some groups that came in recently from outside
Right.
Newport and spoke at length. 23 of them, I think, at one meeting. You certainly have to pack your patience if you want to serve on the committee and bite your tongue.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
So be a tongue biter. There we go.
A tongue biter.
That's a good piece of advice. And
Yeah, put it on your
on
side.
my resume. There you go.
Yeah, Becky, if people want to get a hold of you or share ideas, ask questions, how can they do that?
Well, call me on my phone or email me. And I don't know if you want me to give that phone number. 401-855-1665. Or you can email me. I'll even give you you can do the school email, or my private email is becky.bolan@gmail.com. And I'd be happy to talk to anyone, and yeah, I'm looking forward to, the next few weeks and having it be over.
Yeah. It's the same here. And early voting for everybody, just a reminder, starts next Wednesday, October 16th. And then general election is on November 5th. There are 11 candidates running. And one more time, why people should put that dot next to you, Becky.
Because I'm here to serve our children. I'm here to serve our families, our community. And I feel like I bring a lot of historical benefit. And I'm always, on the cutting edge of what's going on in education. And I feel my skills have really been critical in some of our successes. So.
Excellent. And if people want to get more involved, there is a school building committee happening a little bit today. And then there's a school committee meeting tomorrow night.
Yes, and I'm just about ready to go start working on the building committee meeting tonight. So
Excellent. Well, Becky,
okay,
in case I don't talk to you before the
okay,
election, just want to thank you for everything you do,
thank you.
all the extra hours you put in. I've been saying this to every candidate, and I definitely want to say it to you. Thank you for all the extra time you put in and dedication you give to Newport children.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you, Ryan, for everything you do.
All right, Becky.
All right, thank you.
That is Becky Bolan. She will be Rebecca Bolan on your ballot, and coming up here shortly. We are just a couple weeks away. Can you believe it? Missed any portion of this interview? Want to share it? Want to watch it again? Go back, share it. Any of that good stuff. All available on whatsupnewt.com, as well as all of our other interviews with school committee candidates and city council candidates. You can watch them, read them, or listen to them. All available on our website. Thanks for watching.